What's up? What's up? How's everybody doing? Welcome to Journal Party Live. My name is Alex Gallner, and it's 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So that means we're about to get this party started. So if you're a seasoned veteran of the Journal Party family, you know that we had to skip last week. I was on a little bit of a consulting contract in San Francisco, and all the traveling had me quite busy. So unfortunately, we had to skip last week, but I am pumped to be back. It's all, sometimes it's nice to take a step away and then come back to whatever it is that you're focused on. And got a lot of good stuff cooking here for the Journal Party family. So welcome. If this is your first time, this is a pretty simple and pretty fun little thing we do here. Every week we get together and we go through some of the programs that are inside of the Journal Party app. Share that right now. And there we go. All right. So yeah, this is inside of the Journal Party app. If you don't have the Journal Party app yet, you can get it here by scanning that QR code. And of course, if you're on a mobile device, that may be difficult, but it's also available in the App Store on Apple and the Google Play Store. And of course, if you're on your web browser, you can also access it by going to app.journalparty.com. And we've got all these really great guided journaling programs for you here. And today we're going to go through the newest premium program that we've released, which is called Emotion Excavator. So give me just a second and I'll put that up. I have this little QR code here. And whoops. Okay. Yeah. So the Emotion Excavator, hopefully you can tell by the name, has to do with digging into some of our more hidden emotions. A lot of times we go through life, and if you're like me, you do a lot of it on autopilot. And every now and then it makes sense to come back and take a look at what's going on under the hood. And if you do that, you'll often find that there are some of these things that are kind of steering you in your day-to-day life. And by bringing some awareness to that, we can, improve all aspects of our life, I think. Even if it's not the rosiest situation, or even if it's not everything that you had hoped and imagined for, even if you're longing and yearning for something else, by bringing some awareness to it, you can actually affect it. Really the only place that we can do anything about our lives is in the here and now. And so that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to get down here and now with some really groovy journal prompts that are going to shine a light on what's going on inside of our minds and our hearts here. And we'll bring it up. And of course, one thing I want to say is, especially whenever we're doing any of this deeper work, that while this is super fun and I think we're going to get a lot out of it, I want to make everyone aware that I am not a mental health professional. And so if you are encountering anything that's a little bit more difficult, well, first off, we're here for you. And I think that's one of the great things about Journal Party. But that being said, there are people who have made it their life's work to assist people who are going through difficult and challenging times and emotions and things like that. And so, hey, this is a great place to write some of that down. Even if it is difficult and challenging, if it's coming up, just by having it down, you can then, make it something other than something that you're just swimming in here. And I would always encourage you, if you are going through anything difficult, to bring that to a mental health professional, whether it's a counselor or a therapist. I for the longest time thought, I would never want to be the sort of person who would do therapy or anything like that because, maybe there's some stigma around it. Who wants to be the sort of person who has to, go get their head examined, right? I think that's another Alan Watts quote. I like to quote him from time to time. But the reality is that, especially in tandem with journaling, you can really make some great strides and develop some understanding. And then, I think there's a bit of a spiritual component to this as well. Regardless of what you believe in, sometimes you just got to let some of this stuff go. So that's my little disclaimer here. If anything gets tough, earmark it and bring it to a professional. But the journal is a great place to be a workshop of the mind, and that's what we're going to do here today. So, all right. With that said, if I can get some thumbs up, some yes, let's go. Let me know in the chat that everyone's ready, and we'll stop this song from looping. I've heard it like 4 times now, so we'll move it to the next one and get this party started. All right. I'm gonna count you down in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. Think of an emotion you've felt recently but haven't fully acknowledged. Describe the situation that led to this emotion. And you got 3 minutes, and of course, if you want to revisit this later, you can do so in the app. All right, get ready for your next prompt. This one's about childhood influence. Reflect on an emotion you frequently experience. Can you trace its roots back to your childhood? How has it evolved? Okay, your next prompt is supposed to be about emotional patterns. Sometimes we get a little glitch happening here. Let me see if this is going to do this for all of our stuff. All right, you're going to have to take a quick pause here for me to refresh this. And my apologies for the technical difficulties. We were on prompt 3, I believe. So hopefully it just shows up this time. There we go. All right. Emotional patterns. Identify a recurring emotion in your life. What situations usually trigger this emotion? Okay, the next one is suppressed feelings. Write about an emotion you often suppress. Why do you think you hold back from expressing it? All right, your next one is physical manifestation. Choose an emotion and describe how it physically manifests in your body. Do you notice any patterns? Okay, your next prompt is emotional learning. Think of a recent emotional experience. What did it teach you about yourself or your relationships? Okay, here comes your next prompt. Impact of words. Recall a time when someone's words significantly impacted your emotions. What was said and why did it affect you deeply? Next prompt is fear exploration. Focus on a fear you have. What is its emotional root and how does it influence your behavior? All right. Your next one is emotional release. Write about a time you felt a strong emotional release, like crying, laughing, or shouting. What led to this release? Your next prompt is your last prompt, growth from emotions. Reflect on how your emotions have contributed to your personal growth. Can you identify a particular emotion that has been most transformative? Write about it. Okay, nice work, everybody. How'd everybody do? Let me know in the chat. I'm gonna change the ticker here so everybody knows that it's time to share insights. As always, we never require you to share what you wrote inside of your journal, but we uh, we always like to invite you to share any insights that you are willing to share with the tribe. I think that part of the beauty of this whole thing is like our collective unconscious, subconscious being brought to light, and hopefully we can mine some nuggets of wisdom to share with one another in this little adventure that we're journaling through together. We've got at least some questions here. We got Amy. It sounds like Amy may be new. Let's see what we got. Amy, seeing chorus friends after a long holiday break, priceless. Reminds me how much we all need each other. Yeah, well, you know what? I share the sentiment just because I missed all of the journal party family. I really was missing last week, so I'm glad we've got some more people here, and this one was good for me. I've been doing a lot of work on myself. I mean, if you can't tell, like all this stuff is born out of a lot of my own personal work, but it's always good to look at your emotions. And I was thinking, as I looked at the last one or the last question, in terms of how has emotion, and your awareness of it helped you over time as it pertains to personal growth. And actually, it brought up something for me that I hadn't really been aware of until I wrote about it just now, which was that I think that I only really got in touch with my emotions when I was pursuing a career as an actor. When I was 23, I moved to Los Angeles, and I was pursuing an acting career and in some really cool acting classes. And a lot of that is about controlling your emotions, but also not being afraid of your emotions, and being willing to experience even those emotions that are the most uncomfortable. And I think that was a pretty big light bulb for me personally, because I think prior to that, I was mostly just afraid of emotions because I had read so much like The Secret and Law of Attraction type stuff, where it's very much like cultivate your state of being, which I think is very powerful. But if you're resisting your emotions that want to come up, then I actually don't think that's very productive, at least not in my experience. What I found was that even after my work doing the acting stuff, I then discovered some other materials around emotional development and emotional intelligence that I've really found useful. A couple that you may have heard me share a few times are Sedona method and release technique. They're basically the same thing, born out of the same guy, but one of the big thesis. What's the plural of thesis? Thesis? I don't know. Anyway, one of the big thing that they're trying to demonstrate is that all of these emotions are coming up because there's some greater intelligence involved there, and if you get in the way of that and you deny yourself your truth, then you end up feeling stifled. You store that in your body. And I also thought that was an interesting prompt that we had earlier, where you explore an emotion and see how it manifests in you physically. And so I had some pretty cool insights around all of that stuff. I mean, ultimately, I think that it's a really good idea to get aware of whatever it is you're feeling and allow yourself to experience it. That's something you have to swim in your emotions and dwell there and live there. But even just by getting a little bit more aware of what it is that you're experiencing, one of the coolest things about being aware in the here and now is that you can decide, you can make decisions, right? And it's a pretty popular notion that happiness is a choice, and obviously easier said than done sometimes. But at least by stopping yourself and taking a look at what's actually going on in the here and now, you can potentially make a decision, or at least examine things a little bit further. So that's some insight for me. Let's see what everyone else has here. Okay, Tina says, "Will this stay up?" So yeah, it'll live in the app, so you can always go back and watch any of the replays that we do. If you go to the program section inside of the app, there is a section called Journal Party Live, which is what this whole thing is. And we have all of those there. You can also go to our YouTube channel and check those out as well. Got to put on the wait, I did do the insights. Okay, sorry guys, too much tech and trying to talk over the chat and everything like that. Let's see what else we got here. So yeah, it will stay up to you. Just get the app if you want to check it out, or you can go through this program whenever you want without watching the video because it exists in the app. We got Lorraine says, I enjoyed it so much. Well, I'm really glad you enjoyed it. It really means a lot to me because I spent a lot of time putting all this stuff together for everybody, and so when people are getting stuff out of it, it really makes me want to keep going. So I appreciate that. Holly says, amazing and felt a bit pressuring since I don't usually time myself when I journal. And that's a good note. And what I would say to that is, for the most part, I try to keep these, at least the premium programs, at about 3 minutes per prompt. But that said, we have player controls in the app for a reason. Everyone's brain and mind works at a different pace, and sometimes the insights don't even come up until days later. So with that said, it's you can you should be able to pause these live. I know that's not super fun to like pause the live stream, but if you ever want to re-explore some of these prompts, you can always go back through the app, and there's the player controls, so you can skip around, you can pause, and really take your time with it. And of course, if it's if you're feeling like it's a flaw in the program and that you really need more time, then of course write us at hello.journalparty.com, or you can even just email me at alex@journalparty.com. And let me know, because all of this stuff, we create it and then we bring it to the tribe and we see how everybody feels about it. And of course, if it's if they could use a couple more minutes and we hear that from a lot of different people, then it's really easy for me to go in there and change it and add a couple minutes to a prompt here or there. But the other thing is, I think that especially as it pertains to emotional work, the tendency, at least for myself, is to dwell a little bit. So I kind of like that it keeps it moving. But yeah, thanks for the feedback, and of course, it's always welcome here. Christy says, I had a big shift from feeling anger and frustration to remembering what actually inspires me and feeds my soul. That's an awesome share. And I think to kind of echo your sentiment and bring up a little bit what I was talking about before, I think that there, at least as I've experienced it, there's a tendency for emotions to move, right? They're not static things. I think we all experience them maybe differently. I feel a lot of my emotions in my stomach as like a warmth, and even as like a clutching and like a kind of like a pain. But what I notice is that if you allow it or you just bear witness to it, the tendency for me is to have those emotions kind of move into a higher state. And so going back to one of the things that I shared with this Sedona method. Actually, I'm not sure if it's the Sedona method or at least technically shares it exactly this way, although they're kind of the same thing. But they present a scale of emotions, which I've found pretty useful. Just to kind of act as like a compass and a map to where you're what you're experiencing in your life. And on the lower end, there's they call it ag flap, right? That's a way to remember it. But the A there would be apathy, grief, fear, lust, anger, pride, and those are all the ones that are sort of on like the lower end of the spectrum. The latter being closer to the higher end, and then you get to move into courageousness, acceptance, and peace. So that's where you want to be living. But I think that by allowing the lower emotions to kind of come up and then leave, you're pretty much just left with those higher ones. Ultimately peace. So check that out. Who knows what is actually true. I think the cool thing about that sort of work is that they've always presented it as something that you can take to check for yourself. And if that's not what you resonate with, obviously do what works for you. But kudos. Drop my pen here. Kudos on you for. I guess I don't need a pen now that I'm not writing. I don't know. I just like to hold it. But kudos on you for doing this work. I think that even just a willingness to dig a little bit deeper and try to explore some of this stuff is a powerful thing for anybody. So thanks for that share, Christy. Really happy you're here. Got Yolanda, I think one of our original journal club people. Yolanda's been here with us for a while, very deep. I will have to go back to these questions. And yeah, like I said, that's I I I, I think we're fortunate when the insights just pop right up. But even just prompting yourself, the mind's a pretty cool thing. And don't be surprised if you get those insights coming up later. And of course, you can always go back into the Journal Party app and explore it. Here we got Tasha saying, I missed hanging out with everyone last week too. Yeah, me too. I was up in San Francisco. I'm working on this really, really cool consulting project. So I was, a marketer in a former lifetime, I guess a current lifetime, because I'm doing work in it now. But got some really cool future tech stuff that I'm working on. And actually it led me to create this week's podcast, which is all about like shining a light on what it is you do for work, and inspiring some some joy in your career, or whatever that means to you. So if you haven't checked out the Journal Party podcast this week, we got a new one on this Monday. And I had a blast up in San Francisco, just working with some really brilliant minds. If anyone's a tech nerd, you can holler at me and maybe I'll share some cool stuff that I was doing. Although I have to be, I signed some NDAs, so I have to be careful about what I'm sharing. All I got to say is there are some really cool pieces of technology that are coming out that actually really excite me. As someone who's very analog, and I write in a paper journal, and I actually try not to overdo it on social media. I think there's some tech that's coming out that I think will facilitate living a life that's actually more connected, using things in technology, but also being able to, look up, right? Not just be head down in your phone all the time. And I think, they kind of have this philosophy where good tech is the kind that kind of disappears into the background. And so I'm really excited for that. I think, the more we can all be present with one another, I think that's what we're missing these days is a sense of connection, and I feel it here. So I'm really grateful that everyone's showing up and hanging out as part of an actual community that hangs out, and instead of just posting the highlight reels and everything like that. All right, we got Mary. Wow, this was hard and intense. I do well controlling emotions and learning from emotions, but not reflecting on past emotions. Yeah, and so with that, I would say, it's reflection is something I'm somewhat conflicted about, given that I've committed so much time to reflection and introspection. There's this. I do subscribe to the belief that everything good happens in the here and now. The only things can only happen in the here and now. So, I do have a bit of resistance personally about projecting too much into the future, and also dwelling too much in the past. But I think that if we're willing to at least take a look at it, in the here and now, as long as we can maintain our presence, I think that's the key, is maintaining that sense of presence, so that you're not necessarily just bringing stuff up to experience it again, but to take a look at it from a different perspective, and one that's hopefully a little bit more present and capable of actually handling and processing whatever may have been left behind. So try that out, but also with all of this stuff, don't put too much pressure on yourself. It's totally okay if you just spend some time writing. I think that the act of even getting in touch with yourself is really great. So if the result was not exactly as you imagined, that's a trap in and of itself. But just the act of you showing up here is I think really good. Thanks for showing up, Mary. Got Jennifer here saying, sometimes I find it difficult to name the correct emotion. I start writing about one, realize it's something different. Yeah, and you know what? Words will fail us, and that's a challenge with journaling as well, right? Is that I think words are just pointers to things. It's not the actual thing, and that's I don't know if anyone's ever explored Taoism or anything like that, but like the first line, and there's a million different ways to say this. It's been translated into a million different words and ways of expressing it, but the whole idea is that the thing that you can name is not actually what it is. It's just a signpost pointing to what the actual thing is. And in reality, the experience that we're all experiencing here is beyond words, right? And people will try their hardest to come up with something to explain it. And some people do a pretty good job, with their belief systems and religions and things like that. But even all of that, I mean, most of the world religions, spiritual practices will tell you that it's beyond your comprehension. If you were to really try to absorb the whole truth of it, you blow your mind. And so, if you can't find the right word, that's okay. I think, pontificating about it will probably, is probably as best you can do there. And, the thing that I mentioned before with from the Sedona method and release technique has been helpful is in that they kind of give you a few key emotions to look at, and you kind of see where you are on that spectrum. I mean, one that comes up for me a lot, I would call it worry and anxiety. And, to some degree, that's a part of fear, right? Although it feels a little different. And so, I share that, that difficulty in actually naming it. But I don't think, naming it or fully even understanding it is really what we're after here. So much is just the processing of it and, calling it up and allowing it its day in court and then letting it go. Even the good stuff. And that was another cool thing that I've learned in my journey is that we all have a tendency to hold on to our emotions, and that's very much the case with the negative emotions for a lot of people. People holding on to certain things that they ought to be letting go of, but actually even holding on to the positive things is not really what it's all about. I think, because then if you're holding on to something like that, then, you're not actively allowing new experiences to come into your experience and new growth. And so, I think, the quote that's coming up in my head, I don't know, who it came from, but, the quote is, let it go and see if it gets any better. And that was a big one for me, because I mean, I've been blessed in the past few years. My life has just really taken a turn for the better. And, I've had some stuck in the mud moments in my life. So I know to enjoy that while it lasts. And so, part of me is like, oh, I really got to hold on to this and savor it. At the same time, I think that, it's, that's the trap, right? Is to be so afraid of not of ever losing that you don't let it go, and then you're kind of just playing at some moment in the past. So that's how I experienced that. But yeah, don't worry about if the words don't come. Just keep writing and see what happens, and then write about that. And I think share it with the tribe, and of course, if you need help, that's what therapists are for. All right, we got Stephanie. You turn the music down a little bit, please. Yeah. So, all right, I gotta find like the appropriate level for these songs. Some of them come in a little bit hot, and then you can't hear. I've got this one right now dialed down to like a 6. So let me know if that's all right at this volume now, and maybe I'll try to half it for the rest. If everyone else is feeling that they're a little bit loud, I also felt that way. All right, polytransis, right? It was interesting. Stephanie, really enjoying. All right. It did have its benefits of the pressure, though. It was interesting. Yeah, it keeps it moving, right? So, and that said, that's kind of what this is all about, right? We're all getting together for a short period of time to get something accomplished. But, if you've got the time, give it to yourself. I think that's one of the greatest gifts you can give to yourself is a little bit of time. Right, Natasha. So I'll share this. Words have power, and in the past, if I received negative words, it messed up my whole day. I turned 50 this past fall, congrats, and I now hear the negativity, but not let it have a hold on me. So I surround myself with positive people and not let anyone's words have power over me. That's a really powerful frame to hold. I think that when I was exploring some of my own difficult emotions, a lot of it, like when I would dig deeper, it was like this fear of loss or fear of not having power over my situation. And so that's a pretty cool way that you've come around to that, where you're not allowing the affectation of others, and that's a huge thing. I think, at least my personal belief is that we're all very powerful beings, and all it takes is the awareness of that to be able to sit in a moment and make good decisions and take control over the situation. Obviously, there's things in our lives that we can't control and perhaps shouldn't control, but as far as the energy that you're absorbing from other people, that is one of those things you can control, right? So you can decide if you want to be offended by something. You can decide if you want to let it roll right off your shoulders and off your back and move along with your day. And you can also choose the people that you hang around with, usually. I mean, maybe not if you're in jail or school or something like that. But if you can, that's cultivating your inner circle is a very powerful thing. I'm sure you've all heard of the whole notion that you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And I mean, just look around at who's in your life, right? If you're not feeling good emotions lately, take a look at who's around you, who's complaining, who's like an Eeyore, right? Who's the Eeyore in your life? And that's not to say you want to shun those people. I think you want to shine a light on them, right? And give them love, but that doesn't mean you got to let their garbage get into your head and become your head garbage. So good share, Tasha. Appreciate that one. Right, Polly. Also happy for Tasha. Really good. Love it. A lot of back and forth going on here. That's what I'm talking about, Journal Party. All right. Thank you for sharing that. Activity. Cool. 6 is loud as it competes with your voice. Is this lo-fi? Yeah, this is lo-fi. So this one's on 10. Let me bring that down. So yeah, I'm going to bring them all down to like 3 or 4 for the next one. Let's see. This one's coming in at 10. A little hot. Let's bring it down to like a 3 or 4. Can we all still hear that? One little sound check before we close this party out. The next time I'll bring it in a little lower. Anyway, let me know if that's all good. I think that's all the shares that we have for the day. So, you know what? Thank you all so much for joining me on another Journal Party adventure. Right now, we've got a lifetime special going on. If you go to lifetime.journalparty.com, we've got some people writing in saying they hate subscriptions, but they really want to be part of Journal Party. And I also hate subscriptions, but trying to keep the lights on here. But we do have a special. If you go to lifetime.journalparty.com, you can lock in premium for a one-time $97. So pays for itself in 2 years, and then you get all the premium programs forever, no subscriptions, and it sure helps the Journal Party family out. But this isn't a place to sell. This is a place to hang out and grow together. So I'll stop plugging the stuff. But I won't stop plugging the stuff because we got some stuff that is free. You can always plug the free stuff. So definitely check out this week's Journal Party podcast if you haven't already. If you're exploring, what's going on in your work life and your career, you're going to really love this one. And don't be shy. Write me at alex@journalparty.com or follow us on Instagram and TikTok at journalpartyomg. And let me know what you want to journal about. We've got a ton of programs inside of the premium section, as well as the free section, as well as in the back catalog of the Journal Party podcast. But we want to keep it fresh. We want to keep it new. We want to keep it helping everybody in the tribe. So if there's something you're going through, and you're not afraid to share it, let me know in the chat, or let me know inside of the Facebook group or on one of our socials in a comment or whatever it is. And if I don't have the goods to write good prompts for it, then we'll find writers who can, whether it's mental health professionals or whatever it is. So with that said, I'm pretty tired. It's been quite a day. We've just hit the hour, so really appreciate you all being here, being a part of the Journal Party family. My name is Alex Gallner, and you have stumbled upon the love of my life, which is, outside of the love of my life, which is my fiance, Alex. But you know, aside from that, I got a couple loves. Got journaling and music, and we're combining those here. So really appreciate you being part of the Journal Party family. I hope you all have a really great rest of your week, great rest of your night.